Welcome back to Fins For Grins. And today, instead of any fish tips or anything like that, fish care, that kind of stuff that we're talking about, I wanted to share a story with you about a tank and a man named Tim. And this is the tank that we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned and you'll hear Tim's story. So Tim's tank. Let's tell you a little bit about Tim and his story. In May of last year, Tim came into the shop just on a random day. Came in and was browsing the shop and was super excited about aquariums and was just a ball of energy and a little cantankerous. And so we shopped around and we looked at different tanks and sizes and talked about where he wanted it and what he was going through. And what he shared with us is that he had just been diagnosed with bladder cancer and was getting ready to start chemo and radiation and start his treatment. So he wanted something that he could put at the foot of his bed and watch, and he could sit in bed and watch the tank and see all the fish swimming around and plants growing and that kind of thing, and super excited. And so he picked out this tank. This is a Tideline Euro Style tank, 25 gallon. And so he picked that out and asked if we'd come out and set it up for him. And we certainly did. He is, after all, a neighbor. He lived out near where we live. And so we went out, set it up, and while he was in the shop, he had picked out all the rock and the wood and the substrates and all those things that he liked. And as we were doing that, he told us a story about a time when he had traveled to the Black Hills, and I loved that. And it sounded like he had been there many, many times, and had picked up rocks from that area and found that in the store we had some rocks that were very similar to those that he had. And so he picked out those rocks, and I delivered everything out to his house. And as we sat there and chatted and got everything situated, he told me where to put things and how the wood should be set up and where he wanted the rock, and made sure that it looked good and the plants planted and that kind of thing. And he kept telling us that rock just really reminded him of the Black Hills and the fun he had when he would go there. So we got it set up and let him enjoy it. And occasionally I'd go out and help clean it and stop in and check on Tim, say hello, that kind of thing. And he was just thoroughly enjoying it. He would stop in occasionally on his way back from treatment to pick up new fish or, that kind of thing, maybe a plant here or there, and just thoroughly loved the tank and watching it and the peacefulness that it gave him as he was going through his battle. Unfortunately, in January of this year, Tim passed from his struggles and his battle. So but this tank was something that he just loved. So his wife called and said, "Hey, could you come out and clean the tank again and see if you can make this look halfway decent?" And so I went out and looked at it, and it was in pretty bad shape. And plants had tons of algae on them, hair algae and blackbeard algae, those kinds of things. So it was in rough shape. And she said, "You know what? I'm gonna do some traveling and I don't have time for it, and would you guys just take the tank back?" And so I took the tank, and it hit me on the drive back that I couldn't just put this tank up for sale. No way. This was Tim's tank. Tim had become a friend. In many of our chats, we'd talk about baseball and religion and just life, and what the aquarium meant to him and how special it was. And so as someone who became a friend, I just couldn't sell this. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to set this up as a display tank in his memory and in his honor? So that's what we did, and we set this tank up. I cleaned it and put new plants in, that kind of thing, but kept the rock and the wood that he chose, and just rescaped it a bit and that kind of thing. So I thought this was a great story of about how aquariums can bring peace to you and to people that are involved in the hobby. I know I personally have had a lot of joy in setting up tanks and watching them, just sitting for hours and watching these little creatures and the life that's in the tanks. I just thought that was awesome. And so when you come in, stop, take a look at it. We've tried to put lots of various things in here. One of Tim's favorite fish were guppies, and that's why the guppies are in there. He loved life in the tank, and he loved seeing all the movement. So those are in there for him. We have all kinds of different animals in there. If you look around, you might see some things you don't expect. So come in and enjoy the tank. If you have a similar story, or how the aquarium has helped you and why you're in this hobby, drop it below. We'd love to hear about it and hear about your story and your journey in your aquarium hobby. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys.